pops one of its sides.
For those new to the channel, Bigfoot is my Antweight lifter. It is my first Antweight robot. I essentially made it a lifter in order to sort of learn the ropes of combat robotics, but actually ended up exceeding expectations and qualifying for the MRCA Finals and getting ranked 20th going in. So come with me as I tell you how the event went, and at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you my plans for the next season. For those out of the loop, the Midwest Robot Combat Association is a league that runs 1 pound and 3 pound robots. And at the end of the year, they invite the top 64 Antweight robots and the top 32 Beetleweight robots to compete in one final competition of the year. Due to the nature of this event, we knew we had to bring our A game because we were fighting the best Antweight robots in the Midwest, if not the country. Because of that, we had 3 fully assembled robots instead of the normal 2, and we also threw together a configuration meant to specifically go up against ControlBot. Since every bot was ranked, they showed us the bracket ahead of time, and we knew what our first matchup was before we even showed up. And we were matched up against Ampere. Ampere had a major glow up partway through the season, and our first interaction with them, they got the upper hand on us.
Oh, Bigfoot on the ropes, taking 2 hard shots.
Going into this event, we thought maybe we'd be able to get underneath them pretty easily, but the night before the event, pretty much, they showed us a picture where they have some nice long forks.
2, 1, go! Both bots immediately making their way out to center.
You'll notice that Ampere, every time it turns, it kind of pops one of its sides up. That's because it has gyro forces in that weapon. It is so much mass spinning at such a high velocity that it wants to carry the entire mass of the robot over with it.
Ampere getting some big hits on Bigfoot. Definitely very experienced driving, even with those gyroscopic forces. Bigfoot having a hard time getting a hit on the side in order to use that flipper.
Those forks are doing their job on Ampere.
Oh, big hit there, since both flying. Ampere gets inverted, but so does Bigfoot in that last hit.
Now Ampere's struggle is that those forks are so long that it's going to struggle to get upright by hitting the walls and getting itself back over.
Yeah,
but getting another big pop on Bigfoot.
Manages to get itself flipped back over. They both bots square off in the center. Ampere definitely having an advantage of reach. Manages to get Bigfoot up onto the forks and then hit with that beater bar. Ooh!
Bigfoot now missing a wheel. That was a nasty shot. Missing a fork as well.
Yeah, definitely took out the back wheel there. As long as it doesn't lose another one, it should be able to maneuver just fine, but it may give it a little bit less traction, a little bit less speed.
The ground game is gone on Bigfoot.
Yeah, Ampere definitely taking advantage and trying to press its advantage. Really wants to get a knockout if it can, just get that assured victory.
Ampere putting the amp fear in the competition today. Sorry, that was bad.
You're good. 20 seconds remaining in the fight. Both bots continue to square off. Bigfoot still has that flipper. Oh, another big hit there.
That flipper looking a little loose on Bigfoot. Something could have gotten knocked loose in the assembly, but we are down to the last 10 seconds.
Oh, another big hit right in the center. Bigfoot definitely showing its durability here as Ampere continues the assault. Only 2 seconds remaining. Time!
What an explosive match. Bigfoot hanging in there saying, I will not die today.
So it's pretty clear that I was struggling to get around him, and whenever we went front to front, I ended up getting the worst end of those exchanges. And so it was a good thing that I practiced driving upside down and self-righting, since I spent so much time upside down. That would have gone way worse if I hadn't have done that. I'm going to have to rethink my configuration for fighting verticals, since he sort of popped the front of the robot up. Since those screws are going into TPU, it sort of just, the nuts came through the little hole on the bottom. And when I moved the forks to be further out, you can see that the TPU ended up sort of ripping, and I think that's a big reason that we lost forks there. Also, he completely destroyed the servo horn, and since the servo horn for this servo is so difficult to find, I tried 3D printing some, and with some success. I guess we'll see later how well that's going to work. After the match, he actually showed that our forks ended up actually damaging a screw in his weapon, although I think our forks ended up losing that exchange. We lost that one. Our next fight is in the losers bracket and is against a vertical called Killjoy. Since we've beat them in the past pretty easily, I was feeling pretty confident.
3, 2, 1, go! All right.
Bigfoot with a box rush. Killjoy with not much of an answer.
Killjoy definitely spinning up its weapon. It looks like it's still got some mobility here, but Bigfoot gets underneath Killjoy.
Killjoy looking a little punch drunk after that first fight. Those were some serious repairs that I needed to make after that fight.
True, and Bigfoot getting that flipper arm. Doesn't have quite the pop of some of the other flippers like Yeeters, but definitely still very controlling and can be used as a gripping arm as well.
Very effective.
As you can see that it pulls Killjoy out into the middle of the arena.
Not looking to flip, but looking to corral and control.
Killjoy definitely wanting to get some space so it can spin up that weapon and hopefully get a good hit onto the sides of Bigfoot, but it looks like driving is very almost on ice for Killjoy. That might be a result of some of the...
Bigfoot's fork is now stuck in the arena. That is a risk that people are willing to take.
That's going to be a pause.
We are paused.
I'm more afraid of the gashes in the floor than I am of Killjoy at this point. Pretty much the entire second half of the match, you can sort of tell that I'm more worried about avoiding the gashes than the floor than I am trying to like make sure that I'm engaged in facing Killjoy.
All right.
All right, the clock has been reset back up. I got the thumbs up, so we'll resume in 3, 2, 1, go!
Killjoy spins back up, but Bigfoot rushes in immediately, giving no space.
As a reminder, if you get stuck on the arena, if it is the arena's fault that you get stuck, you get one unstick per fight. Otherwise, you've got to do it yourself. If you get stuck because of the actions of your opponent, there is no unstick.
Another good pin by Bigfoot as Killjoy struggles to get back into the action and point that weapon towards the enemy.
Yeah, it's definitely still got good drive, but its control is definitely hampered, possibly by damage in the previous fight. Bigfoot corrals back into the blue corner once again.
Bigfoot just staying on them, not allowing much space whatsoever. Killjoy running away at this point to try and get that weapon back up to speed and get a good pop.
Yeah, decent little pop there by Killjoy on Bigfoot. Bigfoot then turns it into another pin against the wall. Only 8 seconds remaining in the fight. Last second impressions between these two bots.
And that's your fight.
Time in the round. This one will go to a judge's decision.
After that fight, to try to get the servo horn to work properly, since these screws weren't quite enough to hold it in place, I decided to super glue it down. We'll see how that works out. And since the forks are obviously a liability, the metal forks, I decided to replace them with TPU ones. I haven't really done that before, so we'll see how that ends up working out in the next fight. Our next fight is against another vertical called Technetium. We haven't actually fought them before, so I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I haven't been to too many of the same events as them. He also has a YouTube channel, so if you want to check them out, check the link down below.
Oh! Both these bots have already had a couple fights today. Technetium immediately going to town, trying to pop Bigfoot up. Bigfoot trying to use that flipper arm to its advantage. Technetium taking advantage of its low-to-the-ground forks.
Bigfoot possibly high centered on something in the arena. Gets loose again thanks to the flipper.
Yep, Technetium getting a good pin in the red corner there for a second.
And that is a good attempted pin by Bigfoot, keeping that flipper arm up. But getting popped in the process.
Yeah, Bigfoot once again inverted. Technetium giving chase, gets another hit. Sends Bigfoot up into the air. It does land on its feet, which is nice, but doesn't want to take these big hits if it can help it.
Bigfoot is an incredibly durable bot, but you have to wonder how many shots it can take before something goes wrong in that robot.
Yep, Technetium continues to give chase. Bigfoot getting a nice pin in the blue corner. Just under a minute remaining. Both these bots have gotten some hits in.
Very good driving by both robots, staying very squared up to each other, getting those weapons in action.
Yeah, Bigfoot went in for a charge, but actually ramped off of the forks and took a hit from Technetium. 30 seconds remaining in the fight. Both these bots trying to get some good impressions. Technetium definitely getting these pops. Its weapon is being more effective than Bigfoot's at this time. Bigfoot having trouble getting that flipper into a advantageous location.
Bigfoot not taking a lot of damage, but definitely getting controlled and popped around in the process. Staying aggressive, but that's about it right now.
Yeah, it has managed to get some pins, but it needs to do some more to impress the judges. Only 5 seconds left in the fight. Last minute impressions happening right now. That's time.
And that is
time
your
in the round.
fight.
Although we were able to get around him and get some pins early on, it's pretty clear that simply printing out a TPU version of the metal forks wasn't working because we lost every front-to-front exchange. Also, what happened in the Ampere fight where he was able to get underneath the front lip of the robot and sort of kick it up and no longer be attached because of that one screw holding it down, or rather that one bolt. Again, we had the same issue with the flipper, so we didn't have a flipper the whole fight. Since the tournament is double elimination, that was our last fight of the day, since it was our second loss. We were able to get in a grudge match against Necessary Evil, and they were rocking their new undercutter for this fight.
2, 1, let's see it. Necessary Evil versus Bigfoot.
Looks like Necessary Evil is sporting that undercutter spinner once again for this grudge match.
It performed very well the first time.
Ripped out a battery.
Oh yeah, that's always good to see.
Looks like Necessary Evil is upside down right now, making that undercutter and overcutter.
Alright, doing some very good corralling by Bigfoot right now. Necessary Evil hoping to cut off a wheel at some point if it can get to it.
Bigfoot using that wedge on the front of the robot very effectively right now to play defense.
Very well driven game right now. Necessary Evil trying to get around to those wheels as well as it can.
Looks like Wheel took a shot there, but the Wheel looks just fine as of right now.
Bigfoot tanking all of those shots up front with that nice metal wedge it has.
Looks like Bigfoot has, up to this point...
Drive side is compromised on Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah.
And it's back.
Necessary Evil once again inverted, bouncing around a bit, back on its proper orientation. And a big shot there from Necessary Evil sends both of them into opposing corners.
Bouncing around a little bit.
And a
taking
wheel.
All right. Bigfoot does have 3. It can still drive pretty well, just not as well as it could. 10 seconds view.
And it looks like we've got 2 robots with impaired drive just trying to make it to the end of the fight.
In 2, 1, and a pin will end your fight.
While I'm satisfied with my driving here and the wedge held up great, you can notice that I have troubles driving straight because my front right motor keeps going in and out of function, basically. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And this only gets worse once I lose the back right tire. I end up doing some investigating. It just looks like one of the connections going to the motor is sort of loose and not a very good connection. I'll have to resolder that. Now let's talk about what we have planned next for Bigfoot. With all the issues I had with the servo horn, I pretty much don't want to put Bigfoot in another event until I can get that problem solved. That's going to involve basically me getting new screws for the servo horn, as well as finding some way so I can get some servo horns that size, because before this I was having so much trouble trying to find servo horns for this size of servo. Everything was either too big or too small. It's also clear that I need to rethink the front of the robot, at least in terms of fighting vertical spinners, because they've always been a problem for me and I've just got my butt kicked too hard. Front-on-front engagements with Ampere and Technetium, neither of them went my way anytime I went front-to-front with them. So also, there's changes I want to make that weren't really a problem in this event, but I think will go along with the other changes I want to make. I'm thinking of redoing the drive and trying out tangential drive and trying out some brushless motors, because I want a way to not have 2 motors on each side, but bring that down to 1 motor without really sacrificing too much reliability. And with me doing that, I'll probably end up having to change how the lifter works. And at that point, changing the front of the robot, changing the drive of the robot, and changing the weapon of the robot, I'm basically going to end up making Bigfoot from scratch. My plans are maybe I'll send Bigfoot to one event once I get some servo horns, and then probably after that I'll be working on a complete redesign of Bigfoot, a whole new version 4. So expect the first part of 2025 to me be focusing on Hodag and a new robot that you'll hear more about soon. With that said, I did bring Hodag to the event, and I originally was going to do a grudge match, but I was impulsive and decided to throw it into the Beetleweight Rumble. And so I'm just going to end the video by showing that Beetleweight Rumble and doing some shout outs. Shout out to Casey from Robot Smashing League for running the event, and all the other volunteers that helped make the event happen. Shout out to Emily of Nacho Robotics for doing the social media for the MRCA and for doing the fight cards. I used the fight cards she made for the event instead of the normal fight cards that I make for these videos. Also, shout out to Ethan, who took pictures of the event. I used his picture for the thumbnail for this video. Shout out again to all the other people that helped make the event happen, because I know like running an event like this is not easy, and it ran smoother than pretty much any other event that I've been to, although RSL typically runs a pretty smooth event.
Spinning up right now, Eviscerator with that big beater bar going. Billy
Trooper to the roof, loses a wheel.
Billy looks like it's still spinning up right now. Oh my, looks like Billy lost a chunk of its wheel there. The camera bot still somehow going.
Ataxia to the roof.
The camera bot's missing a wheel. Oh!
And another one.
Ataxia hitting the wall.
Eviscerator still spinning. Ataxia back up.
Looks like T3 is down. Billy just lost.
If you're looking for something else to watch on screen now, should be Bigfoot's previous event.
Just trying its best.
Hodag looks like, oh,
we have
smoke.
smoke.